And the car we have with us today is quite special. This is an old pickup truck from Ford, and overall, it's an actually old casting as well. This is from Matchbox, and as you can see, it just has the Farm Fresh Produce logo over here. Quite an old casting, even the paint job looks that way, and it also has some chip offs here and there. I bought this from another collector who was giving it off. I mean, who was selling it or reselling it, you can say. So I don't remember how much I paid for it, but then this is quite a cool casting. It has the old logo that Ford used to use. The headlamps are detailed, there are grooves, there's depth here for the intake space, under the hood, everything. Nothing opens in this, there's no movable parts. The wheels are also standard, but this is a very heavy casting, to be very honest, compared to some of the new castings that we get recently, and compared to even castings of its own time. I believe this is quite heavy. There's some chippage here, something over here as well, but it totally just adds to the rustic look of this particular scale model or collectible, I can say. Under the car, you have details such as the Matchbox branding in the old school way, metal ink, and it's a 1956 Ford pickup which is made in Thailand. There's no elephant sign because I think at that time when this was produced, they were not using that little elephant sign to mark the Thailand make. This is a copyright of 1996, and the scale is actually mentioned here, saying that it's a 1 is to 65. So these are the most specific details, I think, which they used to print at that time. Right now, I don't see much of the scale mentioned in some of the Matchbox models, but this one has it. It for being an old casting, it actually rolls quite well. It's smooth moving even now. So the previous collector also had maintained it quite decently. That's all I can say. I'm not sure whether he had bought it originally or bought it from someone else. Really didn't go to bother that way. It's not like I'm going to take this on the road. But then this is really cool. It's something that I can almost call an antique. Agreed, it's not that old to call it an antique, but then the model itself that this one particular depicts is an old car. It's of the 1950s, and this casting itself is from somewhere in the 90s. You can see the rust formation here. It really looks rustic, and that adds to the entire charm of this old car. I'm not sure how many people are actually reselling it these days, but if there is someone reselling and if you're looking out to get one of these, go ahead, you will not regret it. You will actually like this particular model. And in fact, it's a little bit bigger than the recent models that you get to see. For example, I have this Majorette Swift with me here. I know there are two different brands, but if you check the size of the cars, honestly, this is way bigger and much heavier as well. So, in spite of being an old casting, this is quite sturdy and it is quite heavy. And this is something that we've come across in many brands we see recently, many kind of products as well. The older products were really more heavier, sturdier compared to the new ones. But I'm not comparing between these two brands as such, because this has its own things, this has its own things going for it. Keeping that aside, now individually talking about the car, this is a really cool casting, quite heavy. Once again, I've mentioned that a lot of times because that's how it is. And the overall feel of having such a rustic model in your collection is quite good. I think it would suit a lot of antique dioramas. Let me just try to quickly get something here that I'd made, but I've never taken a pic of it. I was just trying something at home long back. Let me just try to add that here. So this is just a small diorama that I was working on long back. It's incomplete, of course. There's a setup to be made around it, which I've not done yet. In fact, I've not even stuck the roof. But for such kind of barn kind of dioramas, if you're doing it, having an retro car like this would actually fit the bill really well. Just wanted to add that and show it here. And don't mind the background music. The neighbors are having a wedding, so they're playing it out really loud. So yeah, that's something that I just wanted to add up to the video. So that's pretty much it from my side for this video. Again, this is a really beautiful casting and it's quite special to me considering the age of the vehicle and the way it is, and every other reason that comes along. As you can see, even here it's, literally old school cut with the small shade here and all that. Anyways, for anyone who's trying to get this, do go ahead and get it. You will not regret it at all. In fact, there are high chances you might fall in love with it. Until next time. Oh, before that, if you like the video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We are growing very slowly at a nice pace, but then this is for the diecast collector who wants a view of how these beautiful models look in their hand, and for every other enthusiast. Until next time, happy collecting.